I want you guys to know that 90% of all the people that I work with, 90% of all the people I work with tell me they don't communicate well. And yet the truth is, when I actually talk to both of them, they communicate just fine. They just don't like what they hear. They don't like what they hear. They want a mediator. They want somebody like a therapist or a counselor to convince the other person that I'm right and you're wrong. And I see that most of the time. But the odds are against you, if you will, because most of you in this room have your way of communicating based on what you learned in the work world. As men, you're taught at an early age, get a high school diploma, get a good job, work hard to keep that job, make a family, pay your bills. And as you go into this idea of making a career, you're going to find right off the bat that you're taught to problem solve by collecting information. Were you on time? Were enough people on the job site? Did we make a profit? If not, what do we do to make all this fixable so that we can, in fact, go home at night with money in our pocket? So the work world teaches you that it's all about problem solving from a facts standpoint. If I'm on a job site and you come a little bit late, and ask you where you were, and you say, well, look, man, I didn't feel quite good, I'm going to say, okay, well, don't do that again. I'm not going to validate that you weren't feeling good. I'm going to validate that you're late and I didn't get the job done. Well, if you do it 2 or 3 days in a row, what's going to happen? I'm going to fire your buns. Why? Because you know what? I can get my job done. So when somebody asks me about how did you do and you're looking for a reference, I'm going to say, you know what? He was always late. But the truth is, maybe I didn't know your dad was dying of cancer. Maybe I didn't know that your partner had a baby and, having a hard time those first couple of weeks when that baby comes home. But I give reference to you based on facts, not feelings. I give reference to you based on facts, not feelings. Well, the problem is, of course, that all day, every day, from 6 in the morning to 8 at night, whenever you get home, you're conditioned by the work world. What did you get done? What do you have to do? And those of you that are really good at setting schedules probably get more done than those of you that don't set schedules. The little idea of a day planner. But we can become so work addicted. We can become so used to the rituals of getting things done that we forget the reason that you're home waiting for me. The reason that I'm looking forward to be with you today, tonight, is because I'm in love with you. Love and emotion. I bonded to you because there was a time in this relationship we had fun together. We did fun things. We went places. We enjoyed ourselves. We played. We danced. You all know what it is when you're with somebody you love. You giggle. You laugh. You find humor in dark places where everybody else is busy drinking, listening to music, and you got your own little world going because it's somebody that's important to you. You get goosebumps when you kiss. All that idea of romance. That's what it is to be in love. And yet, I'll be frank with you, we get conditioned by the work world to be more workaholic, to be more insensitive. And so now when we go home, we forget what started the relationship. We forget those nuances, those joys, those pleasures of the times that we spent together. And then, of course, it happens that we fall out of love. So I'm going to remind you, work relationships are 90% facts and 10% feelings. Kind of beat that one to death. But I'm also going to tell you that love relationships are about feelings, not facts. I enjoy myself with you. I guess what I'm trying to get to is I can have a really miserable week with lots of crap being thrown at me. Lots of demands by my boss. But when I go out with you tonight, all that goes away. Because this is our time together. This is our time. And you can have a miserable life and be in love. You can have a miserable life because guess what love is? Love is the rest. Love is that special place you go to re-energize your battery. It's that place that you go to that revitalizes you and you put up with the work schedule that you've got because it pays well and allows me to continue this relationship with my kids, with my family. Because what's the purpose of work? I know some of you are going to say pay the bills, so I'm going to help you by giving the answer. The purpose of work is to have fun. I say, well, what does that mean by that? What I mean is that you work to make the money to pay for the bills to have the free time to enjoy life. See, and if you're not enjoying that free time, if you're not working really hard to get that space to enjoy life, then you've missed the purpose of work. The purpose of work wasn't to have fun. The purpose of work was to give you space to have fun. And if you can do that, you're going to have a wonderful relationship, not only with your family and your spouse or your loved one, but with everybody that knows you. And so I want to remind you guys really quick that if you want to stay in a relationship, if you want one to continue, you got to learn to understand that the relationship is about feelings. It's not about the hard day you had. It's not about all the reasons I can't see you. It's not about all those things, all those reasons why I can't take a vacation or we can't go out tonight, because that will destroy the relationship. What it is about, what do you do to be together? What ways do you find to have the space within yourself to be with your partner and truly have fun? But let me tell you, man, if you go out tonight and all you talk about is work, and while you're trying to have fun, your phone's ringing because somebody's got something to talk about tomorrow or the next day, whatever, and all of a sudden your work and your phone and your text messaging and your Facebook has invaded your personal time, guess what you got to do? Shut it off! Because it's destroying your relationship, and you truly are meant to have fun. You truly are meant to have fun, and that only gets taken away from you when you put facts over feelings versus feelings over facts. I'd like you to think about this notion that if you can keep that as a high priority, the time we share, the time that we enjoy each other's love, then I've got sort of a parting comment to make. Because you have to overcome obstacles. There's no such thing as a flawless relationship. There's no such thing as a relationship that just we met in love, we stayed in love, and we didn't have to work to be there. Nah. Been doing this for 20 years, man. I've never met yet a couple that didn't have to work to stay together. And there's levels of relationship. Friends, roommates, companions, lovers. And in this lifetime, hopefully you will accumulate a lot of each. There's an old saying about friends come and go, but enemies accumulate. I don't believe in that. I think you get rid of the enemies in your life. You make space for those people that can give you higher quality relationships. You make space for those people in your life that can be friends, roommates, companions, and lovers. I think you make space. Now understand that a love relationship is the highest level of relationship that we have in our society. It is that place where I feel like I love you. Love is a process, not a destination. Check this out. Listen, you might not like all these words, but I assert myself, I dedicate myself to problem solve and developing a lifestyle that we may stay together. So is it possible you can tell somebody you love them and it's not your wife? Yeah. Absolutely. I assert myself to stay in this life with you to problem solve. Sister, aunt, brother, cousin, friend, somebody you used to date. A plus B equal AB. But you've moved on. And although you have children together, you're not married anymore, but you still stay in touch. I assert myself and dedicate myself that we problem solve, that we can stay together. So it's kind of an expanded definition. It's not secluded to just one and only one. But the idea that when you communicate to anyone in your life that you want to have that positive emotion of love for, you've got to realize the bottom line. And the bottom line, it's not what happens to them that's important. And that should not be the focus of your concern. The focus of your concern should always be is how he or she feels about what's happening. Because that's important. I remain emotionally connected to you when I understand you. I remain emotionally connected to you when I'm emotionally intimate. When I take the time to explain myself reflectively of my past and anything that's come to make or create who I am today, because it helps me predict the future, it helps me understand where we are today, but more importantly, when I talk to you, and I need to talk to you about things in my life, I'm talking to you about things that happened to me, and you now are understanding I'm going to filter out what actually happened, and I'm going to emphasize how do you feel about what happened. And when I talk to you and try to put myself in your shoes and try to see in a loving, endearing, and passionate way what you're experiencing, those relationships survive. But when I collect information to prove you wrong, You disconnect. You feel like there's no one to talk to. And you might have experienced that when you've had something very near and dear to you and you try to talk to someone and they hit you with things like, oh, everybody goes through that. Or I love this one, you'll be okay. That's not putting yourself in my shoes. That's just sort of giving me a platitude. And that doesn't work, okay? Think about the idea about how you communicate to your partner. Think about how you can put yourself in their shoes. Think about the legacy we have of love. I really believe every relationship is supposed to be one based on happiness. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of people out there that really don't believe that that can happen, that you can stay happy in a relationship, because we have an epidemic of divorce and breakup everywhere that you see it, okay? So I'd like you to think about these ideas. I think it will really help you to understand how to communicate to your partner. When I